Hey there, this is Tara Sage of TaraSageCoaching.com, devoted to helping you live boundlessly and create a life and business that you don't need a vacation from. And for today's Tips from Tara, I am so excited to be interviewing two people that Carl and I have met here during our stay in Maine who are such awesome examples of doing life your way. They are doing something very unique, Keith and Becca, and I'm going to introduce you to them here today, and they are going to share with us, they are so generous to agree, to share with us and open up their home. They too have been living nomadically full-time, and I'm going to introduce you and get this interview started. So come on with me. Hey. So here's Keith and Becca. Welcome!
Hi.
Thank you so much for doing this.
No problem.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a web developer, and I have been for about, 12 years now. And we both work from inside of our ambulance there 3 days a week. And we work remotely, so we can kind of do this as long as we want to.
And I'm Becca, and I'm an environmental scientist and GIS analyst.
All right. And they live in an ambulance. You guys, they live in an ambulance. Now, it's not often that you get to see the inside of an ambulance, and that's not usually a good thing, but today it's a good thing. Wait till you see their home. But first they're going to show us a little bit about the mechanics outside and tell us how this works. You bought this ambulance,
Yep.
and from what, a city? Or?
So we bought this ambulance from this guy in Messina, New York, which is north of the Adirondacks, and we were just perusing Craigslist after we kind of got the idea that we wanted to do this, and we saw it, and we had checked out a few others in Pennsylvania and Ohio, and we went to that one, and it kind of just all worked out, and we bought it and started converting it.
Okay. So you did all the work yourself to convert it?
Yep.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was a learning experience, but it was awesome. And now, it's all our own. We can just say that, every bit of it was our little touch, and we got to make it homey and exactly how we wanted to make it, and just been cool adventure even before this adventure started. So,
very cool.
yeah.
When I was walking through this campground, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be an ambulance chaser because I just really want to see, and I'm so glad you were so open to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so take us around and show
sure.
us your home.
Yeah, you got it. So the first thing that we wanted to do was make sure that we had water. So I hooked up a water system here. We have 22 gallons in there, and that runs up into a water pump that's behind there and feeds some cold water in there and drains back out. And we have our fill up on this side right here. So I drilled this in here and put that in there.
Wow.
And then other kind of auxiliary stuff. We have this jump starter that, in case we somehow do run out of battery to turn on the ambulance, that starts it up. That was rated to start up like semi engines, so I figured it would work for this.
Great.
And then just toolbox, because you never know what tool you're going to need with things breaking down.
It looks like you are very prepared. That's
a
serious choice.
Yeah.
So you installed your own water container.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we kind of, searched Amazon for hours trying to find what's the perfect setup, did measurements, and pulled the trigger on this one, and kind of just spent a lot of hours at Home Depot finding the right pieces and stuff. Before this, I wasn't super kind of handy with home renovations and all that, so I've learned a ton on this project. So.
Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, what I love about that too is it's setting the example of learning while doing. Like a lot of people will study and want to learn everything and know everything before they do it, but the way to know is to do it. So there we go.
Yep.
Okay, hope you guys can hear me okay. Give some thumbs ups to let me know if sound is working. Okay, so show us. So what was in there before?
Oh,
Oxygen masks and things?
I don't know.
Okay.
When we got it, it didn't have a lot of the metal stuff in it anymore.
Okay.
So
Our construction company had bought it in the interim, and then one of their employees bought it. We actually bought it from him.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. What's next?
Okay, so continuing on the theme of more tools, this just kind of happened to work out perfectly to have kind of some of our electronic stuff in here, drills, socket sets, and hatchets, and other amp probe things, which have all come in handy already with this whole thing, since I've had a lot of work that I've had to kind of do randomly.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's so cool about this is conversion vans generally don't have as much storage built into it. So you already have the storage all set up for you.
Yeah, so one of the great things that we were thinking about buying an ambulance was that it did have all this external storage, so that when we did do the conversions inside, we can focus on homey stuff and things that we didn't have to worry about, oh, where we're going to store this, where we're going to store that. You know, all the like automotive and tool stuff doesn't need to clutter up our kind of homey, safe environment.
Yeah.
So that all sticks out here, and it's super safe, heavy duty kind of stuff. So
yeah.
We don't really worry about people breaking into it.
Yeah. So show that closet if you would. I
This
loved
one?
how you did that.
So this used to be where they had the oxygen tanks. And what I did is I took the oxygen tanks out and I put propane tanks in here. So these propane tanks both link up to each other, and they run into the inside, and they fuel our stove and our heater. So if you see that door right there, you can actually reach in from the inside and just turn on the propane tank, and you never have to come out here to actually turn on the gas to do anything inside.
That's genius.
Yeah, it was one of those great things where you just see it and you're like, oh, I could do this with it. And since the propane is stored outside, with diamond plating and stuff, it's a lot safer than kind of trying to stick it under your sink or something like that.
Absolutely.
Inside. So,
yeah.
This comes, with ventilation, so if there happens to be some small leak, it doesn't end up inside of the ambulance, and it can kind of vent itself out. So
Awesome.
It kind of worked out great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And what's in here?
In here, so one of the other great things about buying an ambulance is that you get a lot of things built for you already. In this case, an inverter. So if you were to look at this inverter online on eBay used, you would be seeing prices around $1,400.
Right.
And we bought the whole ambulance with only 53,000 miles on it for $4,000.
Look at that.
So,
I knew that people would be curious about that, so I'm glad you shared that.
The whole thing for $4,000, and the engine that's in there is a diesel engine, 7.3 turbo, which if you're familiar with that, you'll hear people have gotten over 1 million miles on that engine as long as you take care of it. So 53,000 miles for $4,000, pretty good deal.
Well done.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we have that. I just put, this is our kind of automotive setup. So I have automotive stuff, our oil pan to do oil changes. And here you can actually open this up, and we can grab out our garbage from the outside.
That's so cool.
That way we can, we can pull it out from the outside and take it out and stuff. It's another little bit of convenience that worked for us.
Yeah. So once we're inside, that was something that struck me, is they can throw their garbage out, and it actually is like in this exterior space, but from the inside. So, okay, cool. So would you take us around and
definitely
bring us in?
So this is the inside of what we call the Adventurelance. That's the name of our ambulance, and as you can see, we got a custom mat made for it and everything. So inside of here, we really wanted to focus on making it homey and functional, and kind of just finding that balance of where can we use redundancy with space and kind of make it so it doesn't feel too cramped, but we have everything that we kind of need without feeling like we're struggling or anything like that. So to kind of start out, we'll start with this. We have our fridge here. So this is a Nomadic, and this is actually a fridge-freezer combo. And you can have your freezer here and your fridge. You can set this to all be a freezer, all be a fridge by just pulling out these side tabs here. This runs on 12 volt right now. You can set it up for 110 if you want, normal household voltage. But this runs all the time and hardly takes any amperage. And we have, our entire ambulance is built on just being powered with solar. So we don't hardly ever plug in at all. So we can boondock for really as long as our water lasts, and not really worry about having to, plug in for electricity or anything like that. And what's great about that fridge is that it draws almost no battery power. So it just runs, we just turn it on, forget about it, which has just been one of the great things about that fridge. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So, Becca, I think behind you is the garbage, right? Can you show that to us?
So this is our little garbage system. It's actually the old Sharps container from the ambulance. So under this cutting board is our garbage can that Keith was showing you we can change from the outside, which is great when you pour your coffee grounds in there. You don't want to drip it all over the inside of the ambulance.
And what's it like? What is your setup with your kitchen? What did you do to design it so that that works for you? Because there was no kitchen in here,
there's
right?
no kitchen, there was no sink. So when we looked at it, we were kind of trying to figure out like where things would fit and work for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the obvious spot for the sink because it needed to be close to the water containers. Because
Right.
you don't want to run Fleming through everything.
Right.
And you obviously wanted the gas or the stove close to the propane.
Right.
So that's kind of how things laid out. And we
I see.
researched some different stoves, and the Everest Camp stove came really highly recommended, and it fit really well here. So that's how we went with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, cool. I mean, look at this, you guys. What's that? All our storage.
Yep, so we have, up here we have our food storage and our just cups and pots and pans. And one of the things that, before we started our whole van life adventure is, what do we bring? So we decided that, we're going to just be kind of really minimalistic when it comes to silverware and cups and plates. Because at home you have like a million of them, right? And maybe you'll use a couple of them here and there. But for the most part, a lot of our cups, plates, bowls, silverware stayed in the cupboard. So we decided on two of everything, with a couple exceptions of things. We have one pot, we have one pan, we have a big bowl, some storage containers, and a couple other things. We have, something to open our wine, because that's very important.
Yes. Yeah, I noticed you have a French press.
Oh, yeah.
You've got your priorities straight.
Yeah, coffee's a very big part of my life.
So you mentioned home. So we've got some of the pieces of like how you live in this environment. But what do you think when you say, well, when we're home? Because where's home now?
Right, home is here. It's here. It took us a little while to change that nomenclature, right? So after we sold our house, and we decided we're going to sell our house and live in here full time. For a while we were saying, when we go back home, which for us is Buffalo, New York, we're like, no, back where our family lives. So home's here now, kind of, and it's kind of wherever we park our ambulance, and that's kind of our home, and we get to meet new friends and all sorts of things.
So come sit in your home.
Yeah, sure.
And let's chat a few more minutes. Hey to everyone who's watching. We're so glad you're here. Isn't this great? Maybe you've got questions for Becca and Keith. Post them in the comments. We are now Facebook friends, so we can follow up and they can answer in the comments after if there's anything we didn't cover. So I'm curious about, did you always want to do this? Like, how did this come to be? How did you decide that we're going to sell our house, right? You had a house and you sold it, and renovate an ambulance and go live on the road. Like, help me.
So we have always been kind of outdoorsy people, and always different places we wanted to go check out. We do a lot of climbing and snowboarding and recently skydiving, so all that stuff, and there's just this big world to go explore and do them in. So we have always loved following the whole van life movement, and we're like, a van. And then one day we were driving, and we saw an ambulance, and like, that's it. It's mostly converted for us if you think about it. It's insulated and all that. Yeah. So we just hopped on Craigslist, and we're like, all right, we're really going to do it. We got to make that hop from just talking about it and it being a dream to actually like executing our dream. And
was that hard?
It's tough. It's always tough, but you take it bit by bit, and what you find is you think, like, oh, this is actually happening. I'm actually doing this. It's not one big, big struggle. It's like a bunch of little steps of consistency, and eventually you get there, and one day you wake up, you're like, I have done exactly what I wanted to do. It might take a few years, but you stay consistent. You kind of work through all the hard parts. It's not, all fun and games, not all flowers and stuff. But the trade-offs are just fantastic.
Yeah.
And one of the big things for us is we wanted to be debt-free before we did this. So we spent 3 or 4 years just paying off all of our student loans and everything.
Yep.
In a situation where we're debt-free and we can kind of do this and not have to worry about that.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
that was one of the big things for us, is to be able to make it so that not only did we have kind of a small nest egg of money, but we weren't eating away at that nest egg. So that's one of the big things we wanted to do, is both get to a position we can work remotely, still make money on the road,
Yep.
and you know, kind of what you were talking about in the beginning of the video is to make this a lifestyle, not just like a long vacation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Vacations are great, but they are short.
Yeah, they
And-
have an end date, you know.
And yeah, I find it takes like a good week for me historically to relax on a vacation.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's like maybe 1 more week left, and 3 days of that I'm preparing mentally to come back, right?
Right.
And now I feel like I've been on kind of a permanent vacation.
Yep,
And,
exactly.
Even for us,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
we
great.
get on our computers and we go to work with our old employers, but, you know, at the
Yes.
end of the day, you know, especially here, we can jump on the bus and go explore Bar Harbor, the park. It's
Yeah.
just great to be in a different place all the
Oh,
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't this place incredible?
Oh, incredible. And any stresses at the work day will melt away because you can just jump out and do what you want to do, you know. It's, you know,
Totally.
so
So, what do you miss the most? That's, I think, maybe my last question. Like, what's been the hardest part, or what do you miss the most about where you were before and having a home and all the comforts of that?
right. For me, I think it was, you know, those comforts, you know, like having to ration water and make sure that electricity is not being just used willy-nilly, because we work on our computers all day long, so we have to plug in stuff like that. On a cloudy day, we have great solar, but it's still going to drain the power, so we got to kind of worry about that. And then being able to just, on those days where life kind of gets you down, being able to like sit back on your couch with a bowl of popcorn, watch TV is not really a thing we can do, is, you know, here.
Yeah.
So we still watch movies on a computer once in a while, but it's not so. You really have to pay attention to a lot of the things that you didn't have to back at home. So.
Yeah. And how long has it been that you've been on the road?
3 months as of
3
Tuesday.
months.
Yeah.
And in terms of relationship, I know Carl and I get questions a lot, like, how do you live in such a small space together? So how's that going?
It goes pretty awesome most of the
Yeah.
time, and like when one of us needs space, you just go outside and go for a walk. And,
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's pretty spacious in here. Like, it doesn't seem like it, but once you get used to it, it's, you know.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we talk about a lot, is how weird it is, how quickly you can get used to the area and all sorts of things. So like just being the way that we live now just feels normal, you know.
Yeah, a new normal.
Yeah.
I experienced that too.
I have one question
Yeah,
here.
Carl's got a question from behind the camera.
Ah.
A voice.
Asking about the sleeping space
Yeah.
and the bathroom. Is there
Yeah.
a bathroom and
Great. So
Where do
we're
you sleep?
sitting on your bed. Is this right?
Yeah, so this is our bed. And actually under here you can see it folds out. So it's about between a full and a queen size bed we made it. There's actually a couple more cushions under where we're sitting, and it just folds out into our bed. We do it every night. And
Yep, that back pad turns into part of the bed. There's a couple cushions under there. This folds out like an accordion. You can see there's little feet there.
Okay.
And it takes us about 2 minutes to unfold it, move the mattresses how they should be, and then all of our linens are actually up here, which, you know, another big brag about the extra storage in the ambulance.
Yeah.
So, we have like a big down comforter, fleece blanket, sheets, pillows, so it's cozy. You know, that's one of the big things. We didn't want to do this in such a way where it felt utilitarian. We were like struggling the whole time, so it feels cozy.
it's amazing. Like, sometimes we'll boondock at a Walmart if we're on the way, you know, between places, and it's great because you come in here and you forget you're at a Walmart parking lot. You know, you're home no matter
Yes.
where you are.
Yeah, I know. We've done 2 nights in a Walmart parking lot in transit, and the one night I was like, ooh, like in the morning I stepped out and I just kind of stretched like, good morning neighbors.
Yeah, right.
It was a Walmart parking lot. It was
Right.
very strange.
Yeah.
One other thing, this goes up, right? You designed this to
Yes.
also be
So
versatile.
this- yeah,
which I
this
think
can
is
actually-
so innovative.
Yeah, go up if I can turn this. Yeah. And this goes down. What you would do is this down, and then push this upward, and it kind of just latches back like this. And you have our yoga mats under here, but there's a whole other seat that we put here and everything. So you can have this up. You can have this just down like this. You kind of have more walking space.
I see.
Or have it up like this. And
Great.
so
that is such an innovative design. I love it. So you can have an extra seat there.
yeah, yep, and it has a seat belt and stuff. So if we do have company and we're driving somewhere, then they can stay safe back here.
Oh, they could be seat belted
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I love that. Okay, so the bathroom question. Should we end with bathroom? Gosh, all right. Let's save the best for last. So tell us about your bathroom.
Sure, yeah. So I don't know if you want to show them back there. I can.
So we just basically have a chemical porta potty here, and it just opens up like your normal toilet, and we use it only for emergencies, so a lot of middle of the night bathroom runs and that sort of thing. We empty it at your normal dump station at the RV park, and it's never been a problem, you know. We've never worried about filling it up. We just do it when it's convenient, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So where do you usually go to the bathroom?
So usually we're using, you know, the facilities at the campground or for the Walmart. You know, we'll run in there quick.
Yeah, restaurants and that kind of thing. And show us your screen. I love it. The privacy screen.
Oh, we have a little privacy screen.
Look
here,
at that.
You need your privacy when you go to the bathroom.
Very cool. Yeah.
What's interesting about that is that used to be just a blackout shade we had at our house, and I brought it in here, and it perfectly fit the width of what we needed it to fit, like 5 millimeters. So I was like, huh, this seems like it was meant to be here. So I just, you know, threw some screws in and blackout shade for the toilet, you know.
The meant to be
Yeah.
toilet.
It's like the cutting board, like just meant to be fit there perfectly.
Yeah.
Ah, wow, you weren't like looking
No,
for
like
No.
we knew what roughly size we needed, but we
amazing.
figured it'd be something too small, but that fit perfect.
Well, oh my gosh, you guys, hasn't this been so great? Thank you, Keith and Becca, so much for letting us into your world and your Adventurelance.
Of course,
Did I
yeah.
say it right? Yeah.
Yep,
I
yep.
love made-up words, and that's such a great one, Adventurelance. So tell us, what do you think of this, and how does this inspire you to do something unique in your life, whether it's live nomadically or something else? You get to write your own rules and live your way. So let this be an inspiration, and let Keith and Becca inspire you. And I can't wait to read all your comments, and thanks so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.
Bye.